Alright guys, BDR here, and for today's video, it's going to be wrestling hot takes. Now, the majority of hot takes I'm going to say in this video mostly apply to like every wrestling company, whether it be WWE, New Japan, AEW, etc. There's probably like a couple of them that might just be WWE related. But we'll get to that when we get there. Alright, disclaimers ahead. This is my opinion. If you do disagree, comment sections right there. Tell me why you agree or disagree. And yeah, let's get started with the first hot take. Alright, so for our first wrestling hot take, it is basically new titles need a legitimized start. Now, what I mean by legitimized start is that for like a new title, it's obviously very important. Who's going to be the inaugural champion. And, for that, I just straight up believe that you need someone that's already established in the company instead of like someone new. Now, where did this come from? It's mainly because it's like, recently WWE had just revealed the women's US title. And like 2-3 weeks time, they're going to reveal the women's IC championship. There have been talks about like, who should be the first champion. Obviously, some people say Michin. Majority of people say Michin. I don't even understand why. Like some people say Chelsea Green. Some people say, Naomi. And I'm just like for the people that say Chelsea Green and Michin, it's like they aren't established yet either. That's what I'm just saying. For a good head start, you need to either have Bailey win it, Charlotte or Becky come back to win it. So you at least you have a good start because Bailey, Charlotte, and Becky are already established in women's wrestling history. If you don't have that, you're gonna end up having a flop for a beginning. Someone that doesn't come out to barely any reactions and barely gets any TV time. That's who you want as your inaugural champion, and then it's like people just end up complaining on like Twitter months later saying that the title is a flop and whatnot. And look at the next picture, the Universal Championship. It's like there was a reason for like the first few years up until 2020 why the Universal Championship was straight up laughable because it's already lazy design already. You have Balor who got injured. You have, Kevin Owens, who's probably had one of the most forgettable world title reigns in recent memory. So it's kind of like you have to put some name value on it. That's why like you had to have Goldberg and Lesnar hold it. At least they have name value, and that's another thing too about Charlotte and Becky. They have name value to them. Put it on Michin and Chelsea Green. They don't have name value yet. Put it on someone that already has name value, and you could, build up, build up someone new to, to beat the champion. They beat the champion. There you go. Legitimization right there. Like that's why they had to give it to Lesnar and Goldberg, the Universal Championship. Another example, the World Heavyweight Championship. There was a reason why, Triple H became the first ever Roach because outside of like Austin and Rock, Triple H was already the top guy in the company at the time. Like 2002, 2003. There's a reason why they had to have, him and Shawn Michaels go at it for the world title. Those were like your two top guys outside of Rock and Austin. And maybe Taker at the time, early 2000s. And I'm about to give out another example. The AEW World Championship. There's a reason why they gave it to Chris Jericho instead of like a homegrown AEW talent because Chris Jericho is already an established, name in wrestling history. You have to have it on someone that people know, that people actually, put out a crowd reaction to. When you put it on someone that doesn't, come out to a crowd reaction, it's like they come out to crickets and whatnot. Like, what are you gonna do? Blame the crowd? No, because it's like they barely seen this wrestler and you're putting the title on them. Like, it's like when I hear stuff about like Michin and Chelsea Green, that automatically translates, I want the title to make the wrestler, not the wrestler makes the title. It's just like that's what these modern wrestling fans want. Just not that, just have the title make the wrestler and go from there. And if it flops, then complain online on Twitter. So it's pretty much like, yeah, if you're gonna start a new title, you need to have someone that's established. Now you may be thinking, oh, what do you mean by established? You say it a lot. What I mean by established in wrestling is like, they have the full package. What I mean by the full package, pause, move set, promo ability, crowd reaction, appropriate crowd reaction, I might add, learning how to sell, and I'll throw in an additional one out there, entrance and merch. Chris Jericho in AEW, he sells merch, especially throughout the first few years of AEW. Like Becky, Charlotte, they sell merch. They have a memorable entrance. And another thing to add for established is that your matches have to have rewatch value. If your matches don't have rewatch value, why the fuck would I put a belt on you? Why the fuck would I make you the inaugural champion if none of your matches have rewatch value? Fucking Meechin and Chelsea Green, bruh. Alright then, guys, that's pretty much it for the first hot take. Now let's move on to the next one. Alright, so for the next hot take, I have part-timers are essential to any wrestling company. Yes, I said it. Part-timers are essential to any company. Because the thing that most people don't get with part-timers is just that all they think about is, they take the title and leave the company. Okay, that's the one negative about part-timers, but the story is always the same with part-timers. Part-timer wins the championship. You build up your full-timer to beat the part-timer. You set the match up at the pay-per-view, and then it's like full-timer beats part-timer, and there you go. The story ends with a full-time champion that's established already as your top guy or top woman. Like, and plus, there's a lot more that part-timers add than just just taking the title and leaving. Like they literally add name value to whatever title that they win. Like Goldberg, have you like look at the history of the Universal Championship before Goldberg and Lesnar? You had Balor who got injured, and you have Kevin Owens, who was like one of the more forgettable world title reigns in recent memory. And it's like you had no choice but to put it on Goldberg and Lesnar. They have name value. They put butts in seats. Same thing with like Roman and The Rock. Like that's always the main complaint when it comes to part-timers. They take the title and they only show up twice a month. And yeah, and within that time, you go build up a full-timer that's believable to beat the part-timer. Like, why I think, Goldberg, he always loses the title. Like, come on, like Lesnar. You know how many people Lesnar has put in over? That doesn't get talked about as much. Like outside of Cody Rhodes, like look, like over the past decade, the amount of people that Lesnar has put in over. Roman, like Rollins. He made like Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles look competitive against them. Like seriously, they add name value to the titles. Like and then like going past them, it's like you have Braun Strowman who like won the championship because of the pandemic, and then you have Roman Reigns, which is like yeah, he's in part-timer discussions now. He is a part-timer, but he put butts in seats. He's literally the top guy in the company right now. Yes, I said it. Roman Reigns is the top guy in the company right now in WWE. And then you have The Rock, who is a key role player in Mania 40. Like, isn't that funny? And then the same people that were like shitting on The Rock back in January and February, like, The Rock is gassed. He can't handle a buckle bomb. How is he supposed to work a 30-minute match? Meanwhile, those same people want him back for Mania 41. That's just hypocrisy at its greatest. You guys were talking about The Rock is gas, but you guys want him for Mania 41. That's the thing about part-timers. They usually save the pay-per-views from being complete mittery. Like over the past 13 years, when 2011, The Rock came back, became the host of Mania 27. You have Brock Lesnar come back a year later. Look at the dominance and carnage he brought he ended Super Cena. You know, a thing that IWC was complaining about for the past 2 decades. Oh, Super Cena winning every time. Like he put an end to that. Like Goldberg squashing the Fiend. It's like, why not? Goldberg beating Owens. Yeah, bruh. 7 years later, yeah. Um, Brock Lesnar and Goldberg for the Universal Championship was better than was a way better option than Owens and Jericho for the Universal Championship. Just, 7 years later, it's still pretty correct. Great booking decision by WWE, having name value for your laughable world championship, which, to make it less laughable. And it's just like when you're going about Mania 41, it's like The Rock, The Rock is coming back. You have part-time Roman, part-time Cena, part-time CM Punk. It's like part-timers save the pay-per-views. Like part-time, like even like going non-WWE, it's like JBL is going to different pay-per-views, whispering in people's ear, generating hype and mystery. Like, but part-timers are a detriment. Yeah, sure, bud. The only reason why you're saying that is because like Goldberg beat your favorite wrestler years ago, and you're still salty about it. You're still salty about Roman beating Cody at Mania 39, even though Cody got his win at 40. Just saying, overall, part-timers are essential. They add a whole bunch of name value. They're established. They put butts in seats. Like, you could barely go wrong with having part-timers in your company, especially them winning championships when the result is always the same. You build up a full-timer to beat them. Case in point, Roman and Cody. Like, you guys got to understand, it's just like Roman Roman and The Rock have really elevated Cody. It's not the other way around. It really isn't. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much been it for the part-timer take. Now then, let's move on to the next hot take. All right, so another hot take that I have is that finishers aren't finishers anymore. They're basically the same thing as signatures. And what I mean by this is just that, back then, all you had to do was just hit a finisher once or twice, and that's the match. Mostly just once. Nowadays, it's just like you have Cody Rhodes hitting 3 crossroads in every pay-per-view. You just have, everyone just kicking out of everyone's finishers at like 1.5, completely negating finishers. I understand sometimes, wrestlers hit multiple finishers just to seal the deal. I get that, but it happens way too often, and it just should, especially during pay-per-views. It's just, I feel like, you know, back then when Cena hit the AA, it was done. When Orton hit the RKO, it was done. Like Baron Corbin, an example of like a well-protected finisher for as long as it was. When Baron Corbin hit the end of days, it was over. Right then and there, that's what you call a protected finisher. I mean, finishers need to be more and more protected. Like once you hit it once, it's over. Get it? Hit it once and it's over. I'm funny. And Jinder Mahal, like when he hit the Colossus on someone, for the most part, it was over, especially during his world title reign, because that's what you call a protected finisher. You hit it once to like, for the opponent to go down for the 3 count. That's what finishers are. A move that like, you do once or twice, for the 3 count. When you're doing 11 finishers at once, case in point, Seth Rollins versus The Fiend. When you're doing 11 finishers just for the opponent to kick out at 1, that's what you call nonsensical booking. That's what you call like questionable booking right there. Because it just feels like, when these finishers are kicked out multiple times, it's like, are they really finishers? Because finisher just means you hit it and it's done. For the most part, just hit the finisher once and it's over. You don't need, I understand sometimes you need to hit it multiple times to seal the deal. Water. But back to what I was saying, it's like I understand that's like the only exception I have. But it just seems like nowadays it's just like everyone just spams finishers just to kick out at 1 and 2, even though like After the second finisher, match should just be straight up done right there. Not kick out at one just to get a cheap pop from the crowd. Make finishers great again. Make finishers again. Not this like spam multiple finishers just to kick out at two, just to get that pop from the crowd. Like there's more to it. Like you need to go back to just doing like one finisher, like 1 to 2 finishers, but only for pay-per-views. So yeah, that's pretty much been it. Now let's move on to the next hot take. Alright guys, so for the next wrestling hot take, I don't care if it's badly cropped, okay, who cares? We need more squash matches in wrestling. I feel like nowadays every match is either like, try to be 30 minutes long or try to be 20 minutes long or try to like, no. You need squash matches in wrestling for believability. Like, I'm not sure if it was Triple H or Tony Khan or both of them at the same time that have basically ruined wrestling fans' perception of how long matches should be. So, like, you go online and think like every match should be 20 to 30 minutes long. It's like, no, you need your 3 to 5 minute matches. Like it's less draining than like two 30-minute matches in a row. At that point, you're just trying to like burn out your fans in attendance and your fans at home. Like no wonder you when you see like camera shots and it's just people on their phones. When you put out like multiple 30-minute matches, of course people need time to like, I need a break. At least with like squash match, it provides that break. And plus it's just like, especially if you have like a big dude that you're trying to build up. No, there's no point in putting him in 20+ minute matches with cruiserweights out there because it's just ruining his credibility as a big dude. That's like, Obafemi going into like a 60-minute Iron Man match against DIY. It's just like, no. Like DIY is looking highly competitive. They look like they could squash. Oh no. No, it should be the other way around. Obafemi should be squashing them like 10 minutes at most. 5 to 10 minutes at most. So it is like it doesn't make any sense. Even with like Braun Strowman back then, like yeah, you put him against like no name jobbers, but at least it looked believable that Braun Strowman could take on a 1v5 or be put in a 1v5 situation. Pause. It's just that you need believability in wrestling, and squash matches provide some of that believability in wrestling. You can't have like a gigantic, dude be in like a 20-minute competitive match with a cruiserweight. At that point, it's just like it's the same thing as like Rey Mysterio like being in like a 60-minute match against Prime Big Show, Mark Henry, and Great Khali in a 1v3 handicap match. It's not believable at all. You need squash matches. You need 2 to 3 minute matches. To set the tone. You know, to show that like not everything has to be a 30-minute spectacle. You do that for pay-per-views, not for your weekly Raws, SmackDowns, AEWs, TNAs, and whatnot. It's okay to have squash matches, even with your top guys in the company. Like, hey, we need more squash matches, like Cena versus Lesnar at SummerSlam. Like, that's what we need more of. Just straight up squash matches for our enjoyment. All right, then let's move on with the next hot. All right, guys, for this hot take, I just have, you need both storytelling and wrestling to have a successful product. Now, when I hop online, I usually see these debates about which is better, you know, excuse me, storytelling or wrestling. And I just gotta say, you need both. Cause here's the thing, wrestling without storytelling or a feud is basically the real life equivalent of just random select one, random select two, random arena select, go. And storytelling without wrestling is just like, yeah, the promos are good until the bell rings. Now we have to watch a botched filled nightmare for 10 to 30 minutes. Now, a great example of when you have both wrestling and storytelling is, the picture shown on the screen here. Taker versus Michaels, Shawn Michaels had no choice but to put his career on the line to get one last shot at Undertaker's streak. Mind you, this match was 14 years ago, and this match still gets highly regarded to this day. The wrestling was good, the investment, the emotional value of this match. It's just like, it was just heartbreaking to see, like, Shawn Michaels lose, Undertaker 18-0. It's just like, everyone was shocked when that happened. Announcers, wrestlers backstage, the fans in attendance were just like, ain't no way Michaels lost. And seeing him, walk away was like one of the most like heart-shattering things to happen in wrestling history. And that's what happens when when you have a good story. And then on top of that, the wrestling was good too. Like, are we not gonna forget the jumping tombstone to end it? You know, the announce table spot. It's just like this match had everything. Now I understand, their match prior at Mania 25, it focused more on the wrestling part of it. Why not? But like Mania 26 was like the complete package. Wrestling, storytelling, hype, investment, everything. This match had everything going for it. And that's why you need both wrestling and storytelling to have a successful product so people can talk about it. Like Cody Rhodes' storyline from last year to this year, it's just like, you know, there's the storytelling there, and then the wrestling was good as well. And look at the payoff, Cody Rhodes became champion. Other things too, like Daniel Bryan versus Swerve, when everyone thought this was going to be Daniel Bryan's last match as a wrestler. And when we saw that he defeated Swerve, the whole crowd erupted. Because, like, damn near everyone thought this is Daniel Bryan's last match as a competitor. The wrestling was good, the storyline was there, everyone was like in fear of Bryan not winning one more world title, and then Bryan did it. He beat Swerve and yeah, did it. Now, I understand it may be a crazy comparison comparing Bryan and Swerve to the likes of Taker and Michaels and Cody's story to be champion. Daisy, but I just wanted to throw in one non-WWE example. So yeah, guys, that's basically been it. Now let's move on to the last hot take. Alright guys, for my last wrestling hot take, I just have Cena needs to win the 17th chip next year. Now, 2025 is, unfortunately John Cena's retirement run, last Rumble, last Mania, etc. And there's just one glaring, issue. He doesn't have his 17th chip. And I feel like next year could really like be it, have him win the Royal Rumble, have him challenge Gunther for the world title at Mania, have him beat Gunther, and there you go. The world, you go, Cena, world champion for the 17th time. It doesn't even have to be like a long title reign. I mean, when you look at his last world title reign, it was like 2 weeks. So you could definitely, run back the rematch on like the Raw after Mania. It's just that he needs the 17th championship because he's at the moment the closest one to breaking Flair's record, because it's like we could have Orton, Orton's like the secondary option because I don't think Orton's gonna go to Hollywood anytime soon, so he's staying in the ring. We don't want Charlotte to break 17. Charlotte could break 17 after like Cena or Orton. But it's just like, a Flair beating a Flair at the record is just like, that's not right. Like, that honor should go to either Cena or Orton. In my opinion, it should go to Cena. Like, Cena has done so much for wrestling in general. It's just like, yeah, the Super Cena phase was kind of like, yeah, that kind of like tuned, a bunch of people out, especially in PG era. But at the same time, it's like, Cena was just doing his job, and he made it work. Super Cena booking, it worked for the most part. We need Cena to be Mr. Golden Shovel. I don't care if he's 47. We need Cena to be Mr. Golden Shovel. I don't want him to put over any talent. I don't want him to win the IC title. I only want him to win a World Heavyweight Championship so he can finally get 17. Like, I'm just saying this. I know, you heard it here first. If Cena does not get the 17th chip, we really have to start really start looking at Triple H as a booker. Like, we have to start questioning that man's booking decisions daily, not weekly, not when just daily. Because I don't know how you could be Triple H and not give the 17th chip to Cena. And other people are suggesting, oh, File just saying he should be a jobber. Like, no. We need Mr. Golden Shovel, John Cena, to come back. Like, I want to see him do 3 AAs to Gunther, and on top of that, an Avalanche AA. And guess what? Gunther will be just fine if he loses the world title to Cena. Like, Gunther will is one of the top, guys in the company, and will continue to be that way as we go into, like, the next decade, the 2030s. So, him losing the world title to Cena really doesn't hurt him as much as people think it does. And it's just like, do you really want to see Cena, like, his last run, just be a jobber? Because I feel like, unfortunately, Triple H might do that, just make him a jobber. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Triple H is still pissed off that Cena beat him at Mania 22 all those years ago. Who knows? I mean, hey, ego booking at its finest, you know what I mean? But yeah, guys, it's just like Cena needs the 17th championship. Like, it's time. It's time to give him the 17th championship. Like, me personally, I have him winning next year's Rumble. Like, hey, I'd rather have him win more than Roman, Punk, Rollins, Braun Breaker, etc. Cena needs to win the Rumble or wins the Elimination Chamber and fight Gunther and beat Gunther for the world title at Mania 41. That's what's needed. That's what society needs. A 17th Cena World Championship. Do it for the franchise. Bring back his Golden Shuffle activities. Make Cena put people in the dirt again. Let's bring back Super Cena for this last run, and let's not make him any less of that. I really don't want to see Cena as a jobber. But knowing Triple H's booking, he's most likely going to make him a jobber. That's the booker we have to deal with now. Alright, guys, that's basically been, the Wrestling Hot Takes video. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. Ring that bell. We are growing every week. I want to thank you guys, for watching the videos, liking, leaving comments. I really do appreciate all of our followers, our subscribers, all our viewers, new and returning. I just really want to see Cena win his 17th championship next year. Like, I don't care if he has to, like, win the Rumble and, like, tie Austin. That would be even better if he tied Austin. But yeah, guys, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and yeah, hi guys, out.